Hello everybody and welcome back to the Emerald Coast for FS19. This is the final segment in our pre-release tour, part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, don't worry, you don't need to click off of this video, but at the end of the video, look down in the description. I'll leave a link for part 1. Go ahead over and watch it. And also at the end of this video, during the closing credits, I'm going to leave links for some essential videos that I produced in relation to this one that you're going to want to watch. One is a tutorial on how to change out the main farmhouse. It takes a little bit of a workaround, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'm also going to be showing you a mod pack that I'm using to put my new farmhouse down. So you're going to want to see those videos, and they'll come up on the screen during the closing credits. Also, at some point during this video, I have a really special treat for you that I put across the bottom of the thumbnail if you didn't notice. A bonus interview with the map author, CCS 101. He's a fantastic guy, and I asked him 11 questions that I thought that you would be interested in to gain a little insight into the man, the myth, the legend himself. So keep a lookout for that. Now, another thing you may or may not have noticed in the thumbnail is in the upper left corner, the Windows PC symbol. CCS 101 only makes maps for the PC and Mac platform. The reason that it doesn't go to console is because his maps have a lot of heavy, rich detail and scripting, and they're just not designed for console. When the map is released, it's going to debut on PCSG, and I will leave a link down in the description for the PCSG website so you can keep an eye out for when that map pops up, and I'll also make a video announcement for you as well. And I'm going to let everyone know on Discord. Whether you're just hanging around bored or just need something to do while you're sitting on the toilet, why not join our Discord group, the Simulation Gaming Society?
Eustace, let's get on with the video.
Oh, yes, dear. Alright, so now I want to give you a heads up on a couple of items on the map that may give you a little bit of frustration and cause you to scratch your head and wonder. So I'm talking about the silos that you're going to come across on fields 11 and 20. Now these are leftovers from the FS17 version, and in FS17 they required the Secundiac auger, but in FS19 the Secundiac auger pack has not been converted as of yet. But there is one auger that has been converted. It's called the Mayrath auger, and it is very bad. If you see this on any download site, do not download it. It is full of errors. It's a colossal failure, and it doesn't even work right. So please avoid this auger. When a good auger comes out and it's done the right way, I'll let you know. So in the meantime, you can either delete those silos because they're placeables, or you could just leave them be and wait to see if an auger pack comes out that's worth your time to download. And just one more thing before we get started, I have a correction to make about something that I misspoke about in the part 1 of this map tour, and that is in the root crop storage farmyard, those little storage sheds. I misinformed you on exactly what each one held. So facing them and starting from the right, you have sugar cane, and then in the middle we have sugar beets, and then at the end on the left we have potatoes. There you go. So I've got a lot more to go over with you, so let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? Alright, so in part 1 we left off where we were exploring the creepy house and the creepy burned out house in the woods, and I just turned off of that and I'm still going down this field road here, and I'm heading for the main drag where all the neighborhoods are and the sale points. So I'm not going to do a whole heck of a lot of talking. I'm going to try to give you a break, and I'll jump in whenever there's something pertinent to say regarding a sale point or something like that. So I do hope you enjoy. And this is the Southern Buffet where you can sell your chicken eggs at that trigger right there in the back. And up ahead here is the dairy where you can sell your milk. And this field road will take you right back to the main farm. And here we are at the animal dealer. And over here is where you're going to pick up and deliver your animals, and you have a plenty big enough trigger. No excuse on missing that. And around the back here is where you can sell your straw bales. Another farmland facility here. And this silage sale point up here, usually it's closed, so you'll have to flip the switch on and off to open and close the trap doors on that. Pretty nifty if you ask me. And then right around this corner, in front is where you're going to sell your wool pellets. And then hidden back here is a pig feed dispensary where you can purchase feed for your pigs. And then as we meander down here, before we go to the Southern agricultural grain sales, I want to show you this nice little lot here where you can put down a placeable of your own. And here we are at Southern AG. And this is where you be selling off your root crops. So you got your sugar beets over here. And then in this cement building over here is where you'll put your sugar cane. And no, they don't grow sugar cane in Florida, but CC wants to offer everything Farm Simulator has. And then right here is where you're going to sell your potatoes, and they're hard at work trying to keep ahead of you. And down here on the right, this is the cotton gin. And that's right, that's where you're going to sell your cotton bales. And we'll zip around through the other side and drive straight through it. Give you a real good gander. Alright, so we're heading up towards the dealership, but before that, we're going to pull in here, another farmland place. And on the left, you can purchase your seeds. On the right, some fertilizer. That tower up ahead is a lime dispensary, and then more fertilizer left over from the soil mod days. Then that yellow tank on the left, that's where you can get some water if you're thirsty. Alright, so we're just going to pull left in here, and tucked away at the end of this meandering path is a nice big space where you can put yet some more placeables. And you're not limited to just this little dirt circle. There's plenty of room back here to do what you want. Now over here on the right, when you make a purchase from the dealer, they're going to go ahead and put it over here for you, because they don't want you cracking up all of their new equipment over here on the main lot. Then right around the back here, this is where you'll drop off anything you want to sell or service. And right across the street from the Shell station is the Deep South Granary, and that big shed over there is where you can sell your canola, sunflower, and soy. And then this small skinny one here, you can sell your wheat, corn, and barley. And you can come right out this way through this little dirt winding path and back up the road towards the Shell station to fuel up your equipment or bring fuel back to the farm. So now I think it's time to hop on my old horse and have a ride over to Cece's house to get that interview started. Let's go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time once again to sit back and chew the fat with your old pal Eustace. CC, question number 1. When did you start modding, and what type of mod was it?
Oh, that's a long time ago. I got the game back in early 2012. My son was bored and wanted to try something different besides PlayStation racing and stuff. So we found Farm Simulator. And I was like, really? A game about farming? Are you serious? But I got interested in the game like he did. I learned that you could mod it. Now that was cool. And so I began by editing the maps that I was playing on to, make them the way I wanted them to be, and learning GE. And then later on in the 2011 era, I guess, I began learning how to fix mods that were broken. Fix little minor things in the LUA, XML, that sort of thing. There were plenty of those broken ones in those days too. Then I started doing a lot of reskins of stuff. As time went on, I settled into map making because that's what I really like. It's like artistic, creative kind of a thing, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I do first started releasing maps in 2015, and been doing that up until now.
Wow, so there's hope for me because I kind of starting out as a little tinkerer and moving of assets, as I like to say.
Right.
Take the fence, pick it up from over here and put it over there.
Right.
So let's see. So question number 2 was, what was your favorite modding project of all time?
Oh, that's a loaded one. I don't really have a favorite per se because I've edited so many maps. I've done so much with mods over the years. But I would have to say that I guess as far back as maybe Farm Simulator 2013, I started wanting to have my maps look more realistic as far as what time of year it is. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have seasonal textures? So I started making autumn trees and winter foliage and things like that. But of course we didn't have a seasons mod. So what I have to do is I ended up having to make 3 different maps, each one with a different texture set in it using the same save game. And then I would just swap them out, according to the seasons. And that was a pretty big project. I would do it for every map that I had. And I really enjoyed that because it really did make the game look better to be able to have your, harvest actually occurring in autumn.
That's really interesting. I did something similar with that on the Outback map. I got kind of tired of, I like the desert like any other desert fan, but I was really begging for some green on that map. So I went played around with the texture files and kind of did what you did. I made a set of texture files with like kind of spring green trees and then another set with some autumn colors, and then swap them out after a couple of harvests or so. I'd swap them out and say, okay, it's autumn time.
Right, yeah.
I was pretty thrilled when Seasons Mod came out for the general public release. I'll tell you the truth, I don't go near them when they're in their beta phase and stuff like that. Same with Courseplay.
Right.
Because I've had some pretty fatal crashes testing some mods in the past that have wiped my game XMLs out, and I'm like, oh, no.
Right, yeah. That's not nice when that happens. I've had the experience. I'm in GE and I'm working along, and I've got like 3 days of work on a map, and all of a sudden GE says an error has occurred and the program will now close, and there's no other button to hit except OK.
Yeah. See, you need to use a Cronus.
I do.
That has saved my rear end.
I do now.
So many times. Yeah.
I certainly do.
And worth every penny. Let's see. So question number 3, and to everybody listening, I'm only kind of going through this because it's getting very late where CC lives. So, I don't want to keep him up. He's got a big family, a very busy life. So, it's a pleasure to have him here, and we don't want to take advantage. So let's see. Question number 3. So who inspires you the most in the modding community? As in, like, who do you look up to the most?
I'd say no one in particular as far as a specific individual, but I've known many good modders in my history of being in Farm Sim, and like the guys in Realistic Modding. I know several of them personally, and folks like them guys. I can't pull names to mind right now, but there've been so many really good maps, many good mods, and I'm really impressed by the work that goes into some of these mods. It just really makes the game so amazing. So that's I see these kind of things, and it inspires me to put ideas into my maps or into what I'm working on, and it's like a real community. We all inspire each other. But there's no one particular name that jumps out because there's been so many.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a safe answer for you too as well. You won't have any lynchings at your house or eggs on your window. So, or the next time you ask somebody for help that you didn't mention,
you didn't know
sorry,
me, so I ain't helping you.
That's right. So, question number 4. What is or was your favorite map to play on, excluding your own works?
Oh, that's a toughie too, because there's been so many nice maps. But I have to go all the way back to the beginning. In FS 2011, the very first map that I ever actually played on was a mod map, and it was the original Churn Farm for 2011 by Tommy23. And that map was just so amazing. I loved it. It was just so nice, so realistic. Everything was so cool on that map, but it was so hard to run because back in those days, the game, everything was 32-bit and it could only use 2 gig of memory. And that map was requiring 2 gig of memory by itself, not accounting for the game and everything else. So it was causing bad allocation errors all over the place, but I still loved it, and I played it, I edited the heck out of it, and that's why I ended up converting it later, because he never did anything more with it after the 2011 versions. He released like 3 or 4 versions, I think, in 2011 to fix various problems and such, and to incorporate the DLC into it, which at that time for 2011, the DLC was for the BGA and the assorted equipment for that. And then I said, wow, that's such a nice map. In 2015 is when I first started actually converting maps, and that was one of the first ones I converted.
Well, I'll tell you, you've done a great job with the 15 and 17 version. I gotta say, you did a great job.
It's an awesome map. I love it. It's so well laid out. Everything just, man, it's amazing that it was the original default map was his inspiration for that, for 2011.
So let's see. Question number 5. What's your favorite job to do on your farm? No matter, what map it is, what do you seem to gravitate to the most?
I think I like the harvest best. In fact, whenever I'm testing a map, that's one of the first things I do, because a lot of the maps in pre-2017 up through 2017, when you get the map, it's got fields that already have a harvest on them anyway. So I like that. And I think it's kind of like in real life, where the harvest is where you see the results of all your hard work, for the whole year. And that's my favorite job on the whole map to do is harvest. I love it.
I like doing the carting too. I don't know what it is. I like driving through the map and, doing that too.
I like that too, but I think I like harvest even better. I like to use courseplay for the carting.
Oh, there you go. All right, so I'm not the only cheater.
That's right.
So let's see. Question number 6. What equipment do you enjoy using most? Okay, you like harvesting the most, so yeah.
Well, I think in all aspects of the farming, whether it's just harvesting or whatever, I enjoy the equipment that's modeled, the American style stuff like that I saw around when I was growing up as a youngster. Like the old New Holland 116 Haybine that's been out. I like the older John Deere tractors, the older Massey, like the ones that BSM did. All that whole pack that BSM did, I loved it so much because that was the kind of stuff I grew up with. See, and that was amazing. In fact, my father was a mechanic at the local Massey Ferguson dealer in the area where we lived, and we lived on the farm, and he would be doing all the work on the farm, and we got free rent because he was basically the farmhand taking care of the farm. It was a cattle farm. I had like 40 head of cattle, but we had grain farms all around us, and we got to see the alfalfa harvest. We got to see the corn and soybean harvest. Everything. Wow. Massey Ferguson was everywhere, and Heston too. I loved the old Heston stuff. The Heston balers and the windrowers and everything.
Now, see, I didn't know Massey was so prevalent in the United States. Where I come from, New Holland and John Deere primarily. Once in a while, you'd see a Ford, and that was it. I have never seen a Massey Ferguson tractor until I started playing this game.
Amazing. Well, I lived in northern Missouri, not too far south of the Iowa border, and it was very popular in that area. It was very, very common. All
right, so question number 7. Do you play hardcore, easy mode, or moderate mode when you do farm sim?
Well, in 19, I haven't had a whole lot of chance really to even play yet because I've been this stupid map.
I know, you've been banging your head with Emerald Coast.
But I think that I'm going to probably, well, at least with maps that I do, or maps that are set up similar to what I've done with mine, I'll play it on easy mode, but I'll use mods like seasons and things like that when they come out. And the reason for that being is I want to have all the flavor, the feel, the aesthetics of the map, the buildings and stuff. I want to have all that there.
Absolutely.
My play style, even with Emerald Coast, will be a little bit different than the typical in the game, because I'll be like I just moved into the area and I took over all this stuff, and then I'll change it as I want. I don't like this building anymore, so I'll get rid of it, put a different building there, that sort of thing. Yeah, the blank slate thing don't really appeal to me. That's not my style of playing. So
a lot of times I like to look how a map is intended to be portrayed, and then if there's little things that I want to change for my own story or whatever, okay, but for the most part, I like to see what the modder themselves have, created out of their mind, because a lot of times they make maps of a place they live or where they used to live, and you don't want to really mess with that, because that's something, you're privileged to be standing in something that came directly from their personal life, and that's pretty cool.
Right, exactly. That's the way I feel about them too.
Okay, so now a general question. If you can have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter if it's gaming or any other career in the world or what have you, who would that person be that you'd sit down to lunch with, and why?
That's a real tough one there, because I never really thought about that sort of an idea. But I guess in reality, with where I'm at in my life now, I'd probably want to see my mom again. That's kind of out there in left field for some folks maybe, but I'm older and more mature now, and she's been gone since 95, and I'd love to just be able to sit down and say, hey, what's up? What do you think about this? What about this era back in the day? Things like that. Just talk. I never really got a chance to do that because she died when I was young.
Wow. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss, number one. And I can share that with you because, I lost my mom just several years back, and we used to talk almost every day, or she'd call up and say, hey, there's a scary ghost movie on. You want to watch it with me? And I'll say, okay, and we'll sit on the phone and watch it together. So when those days came to an end, it was just like, oh, man.
You get older like I am now, and you realize that maybe you should have spent more time when she was here, because I guess one reason too is my grown son now, he's kind of distant and don't really want to spend a whole lot of time with dad,
That's right.
And that's normal, that's normal when kids they start pulling away, they want to start their own life and do their own thing.
That's it.
So me being older and wiser, I'd love to just sit down and chat with her again, even if it was just for one day.
Absolutely. I'd like to have another dish of my mother's chicken piccata, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, my mama was a good cook now, so she made a mean chili.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yep, it was.
Let's see, question number 9. Do you have any farming background?
Well, yeah, I do. I was never actually driving tractors around doing stuff like that because I wasn't old enough. But from up until the age of 13, like from 0 to 13, we lived on farms. And that one farm I mentioned before, the cattle farm, we lived there for a bit. We lived on some other farms in the general area, all around northern Missouri. So I've been on, in, and around farms all of my young life. I've seen the tractors, I've seen the equipment, I've seen the animals and what we do to take care of them, that kind of thing. So yeah, maybe that's one reason I really started liking the game later, once I got into it.
I got to tell you, Missouri is beautiful.
It is.
But there's a but.
There's a lot of butts up there.
It is so hot in Missouri in the summertime that I saw Satan pass me on the highway going the opposite direction out of Missouri. He said, hot, so long, sucker, good luck. I could not believe the heat.
The contrast is how cold it is in the winter, though. Man.
Exactly. So you get everything. I mean, the good Lord really tries hard to crack the paint on everything painted in that state. It's just like,
it
give
works.
Them some 100 that's right. Give them the oven, then give them the freeze.
Yeah. I remember one early April, maybe about this time of year, and probably a little earlier, more like maybe the 2nd or 3rd of April. I was a kid. We had a blizzard the night before, 3 foot of snow banked up on the windows.
Oh, man. What year was that? Is that this Blizzard 75?
It might have been. That sounds about the right time frame, because I would have been about 10 years old then.
Yeah, because I remember that, and looking out the bedroom window and seeing the snow piled up. My grandparents owned a colonial home. The snow had been drifted up to the windows, but there was several feet flat on the ground as well.
Yeah.
And all I can think of was, I hear my grandfather downstairs, oh, for the love of Christ, look at all that snow. But I was thinking was happy days.
Yes, no school.
No school, and I got a snowsuit.
But the thing about it is you always had to make that school day up in the middle of freaking June.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you don't even think about that until it happens.
No, you don't think about it. And then June comes, you're like, man, I want to be out of here.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember.
And you can't play sick in June.
My dad had to go out the back window and then find his way around to the front of the house and shovel the front porch off so we could get out the door and go to work. It was crazy.
I remember my grandfather the night before, he was out there, and he was one of those men. He would go out there like every few hours and shovel and shovel and shovel just to keep ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally fell asleep and he woke up in the morning. Looks like he was never there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. All right. So question number 10. Tell us a little bit about your experience, your journey while creating Emerald Coast FS19, like such as the joys and the frustrating bits that you went through, because you put a lot of hard work and detail into that map. I am always amazed, and you've topped it from the version you did in FS17 to 19. You've topped yourself, and I didn't really think that was possible. So you did a brilliant job.
It was hard because I tell you, this the new game, it turned everything on its ear, so to speak. It was crazy. There was so much to learn. It was really a severe learning curve, and the problem is I didn't really have any documentation to learn from. So we're all starting out fresh, and I started working on this only about a week or two after the game came out. So a lot to learn, and had to discover a lot of it the hard way. And actually along the way, it was interesting that in what I was doing in the map, things I was working on in the map, I actually found 3 game bugs that were later fixed in patches.
Wow. Well, at least Giants cut you a big fat check for that, didn't they? Right?
Oh yeah, I'm retiring on
$10,000 or $15,000.
Yeah. Well, it was fortunate that I had our dear Rackin to work with me on that from Realismus Modding, because since he's got the inside scoop there at Giants, he said I'm buddies with him anyway. So I just said, well, I'm having this issue with my map, or whatever. I forget exactly what it was now. And he says, oh, well, let me have a look at that. And he says, oh, there's a bug.
Oh, of course.
I said, oh, okay. So he'll knock out a little script for me real quick to fix it, until the next patch came out, which I think was 1.3.
That dude's amazing.
He is. He can write scripts. It's crazy.
I've already built a golden idol to him. I usually worship it with candles about once a day, because he helped me, after I screwed it all up, he helped me fix adding in the ability to paint the grass. Mm-hmm. And I learned after he told me what to do, I could have never figured that out on my own, because I had to add in script that just did not exist. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Giants, for making that readily available to all of us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate that. Big kudos there.
Yeah.
Sarcasm dripping.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like, thank goodness they put it out right away for everyone,
I think the worst bug of all, the last one, it was so bad that I just was about ready to say, you know what, screw this map, I'm done.
Yeah, I remember that statement.
I said, I'm finished. I'm done with this. I am really seriously done. And after a couple of weeks, and I just happened to be chatting with him again, I told him what was going on. I had mentioned it to him before, but he's so busy, trying to get seasons done. He didn't really, I guess, didn't fully grasp what I was dealing with. And so we had some time. He was like in idle time over there. I think it was evening for him, and he was home off of work or whatever. So he did have all them things, pulling at him all at one time. He said, why don't you just shoot the map over to me real quick? And I said, all right, I can do that.
Nice.
4 gigs worth of map, he downloaded it lickety-split because he's got like a super gig connection over there,
I hate him already.
He's got a fiber optic line directly to his living room or something. I don't know. But anyway, it took me 10 minutes to upload my map and took him 30 seconds to download it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But anyway, he was in there running around. He says, oh, this is the error? I said, yeah, that's it. And I get in, it's random. I said, it's a farmland problem. And I'm not going to be able to release the map with this error in it because it blows the HUD and messes everything up, the game's still working just fine. There's only one little error in the log, but no missions, no field status, nothing. It just breaks all that. Well, come to find out, it's a bug in the game. Again, this was bug number 3. And what it turns out is that the game does not see channel 63 of the farmland.
Oh.
It says, I don't know what to do with this. And so it breaks. So he knocked out another little script for me real quick. This was a little bit bigger. It was a script that was about 30 lines or so. And he said, this will fix it and it'll be incorporated into the next patch. I said, oh, great. Thank you. And I dropped the script in, boom, problem went away.
Wow. So let's see. Lastly, question number 11. Do you enjoy any other types of games or hobbies outside of Farming Simulator, or does this, like most of us, just consume every cell in your body that is not keeping you directly alive?
Well, actually, I have a couple of the favorites that I kind of have worked them all together into a thing. When my son was actually living here, it was kind of fun because we could play back and forth, my den and his bedroom. But we like FSX, both of us do.
I knew it. I knew that was going to be the first one because you have a thing with jets.
I do. I have to admit it, I do. I've got over 200 mod aircraft in my FSX, and I've got all kinds of scenery packs and additions, and I've even made some of my own custom scenery, like islands and stuff to put in the game, so you can land on them and fly to them and all that. And there's another one called Orbiter Space Simulator. I love that one too.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So what I would do to make it really cool, because me and him, I don't do much of it anymore since he's not here anymore. He's left the house, and I just kind of focus on farm sim mostly now, although I do fly a plane every now and then. But what we used to do with Orbiter is there were some of the models that were the same, like in Flight Simulator, and they would have an equivalent model in Orbiter that somebody had made. Like, just one example I'll pull out of the air here is the Star Wars the X-Wing fighter. I have one of those in FSX. It's very well detailed. I had to rebuild the cockpit in it and make it more nice because it was kind of junky. But I have a good model of that in Orbiter as well. So I'll do a little scenario. I'll take off from some airport somewhere, wherever I got me a little hangar that I plop down in my scenery, and I take off and fly, and I go up really high as FSX will let me go, so that I can simulate going into orbit. And then I pause FSX and save the flight, shut it down, fire up Orbiter, and then I've got a start scenario already set for each model that I want to play with in Orbiter. And so then the X-Wing appears as if it's in orbit. See, so I went up, I established orbit. Here I am orbiting around the Earth, looking beautiful. Wow, Earth is so great, And then I go fly off and do whatever I want to do in space, and I come back and get back into orbit, and then I fire up FSX and fly back down.
That's amazing. That's really cool. I used to be a big flight simmer myself. I used to spend hours. I was one of those guys, get home from work, eat dinner, and go and fly a plane until like 1 o'clock in the morning. And, of course, my wife, if I was, on final, my wife would come downstairs sometimes and say, Captain, dinner's ready.
That's funny.
Don't talk to me now, stewardess. I'm on final approach. I'm going to crash this pig if you take me away from it. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking time to do the questions. I just think this is such a nice way to kind of connect people, with the person behind the map, because a lot of people, they see a name, but they don't connect it with the person. Right. And it's really nice to know a little background, and that there's an actual hardworking human being out there creating stuff with a passionate attitude, with enthusiasm to share it with the world, to give us something to enjoy, and helps people to appreciate your work a bit more. So really appreciate that.
All right, no problem.
Is there anything you'd like to say to all your fans out there?
Well, glad you enjoy the work. Maybe there'll be more coming. Got a couple of ideas. I've had a couple of folks make the kind of negative comments about how large the map file sizes are, but that comes with the detail. It's...
Yeah, maybe if they're running a potato, well, you're not going to be able to get much out of it.
Right, and I always put the disclaimer in the credits and in the list, the README, that it takes a strong computer. So.
Well, that's it. Yep. You're never going to get 100%, all A's on a report card. There's always somebody who's going to say something no matter what. So don't take it to heart.
But see, the thing is, I build my maps for realism because I'm like the detail guy. I see details everywhere, and I build my maps for me, for the way I like to play and the kind of maps I want to play on.
Well, that's it.
And if I wanted to make a potato map, I could just make a flat starter map, throw a few trees on it, say, here you go, build your own farm. There you go.
Yeah. Or you can give them Bjorn home.
Exactly.
Well, you do a fantastic job, and we certainly appreciate it, because you're really doing what modding was intended to be, I think, from its inception, was here's guys that play the game, and they edit maps or create their own maps and mods, and they decide to share what they've done. And you know what? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Don't download it.
That's true.
You know what? It doesn't cost you anything. And, at least it shouldn't. So,
exactly.
Hey, if you don't like it, don't worry about it. Thanks again, Will. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Happy to have the opportunity.
Same here.